Question: what are some very common excuses not to start a stockpile? Back in a minute. Hi, this is Jan from New York City. My channel name is Jan from New York City Saves Money. Let's jump right into it. Some of you might have said it. Some of you might have heard it. Let's talk about it. Some very common excuses not to start a stockpile includes thinking you can't do it. That is a huge, huge mistake. Everyone, and I mean everyone and anyone, can begin a stockpile. A stockpile can begin with as little as 1 or 2 cans of something that your family uses. It does not have to be a big beginning. There's something to be said about small beginnings, but the thing is, begin. Next common excuse: I have little or no space. Hey, I'm a New York City apartment dweller. If I can do it, literally anyone can do it. Get creative. You could find spaces or plastic shelving like I use, or you can, let's say, utilize under a table. If you have a spare table or any table, and put the items underneath the table, let's say against a wall, for example. Or if you have a round table, like an occasional table, put a tablecloth over it. Nobody will know the better that you are storing your stockpile under there. You will find the space if you make the space. The space is probably there. Get rid of things you're not using anymore. You'll be creating space, more space than you ever even thought imaginable. The space is there. Just have to check it out. Next common excuse: I'm not a doomsday prepper, neither am I. And I did know that the phone was going to ring. Hold on 1 second. This is crazy. Anyway, good. I'm glad it stopped. All right. Not a doomsday prepper. I'm not either. I'm just a regular person that just likes to have a little bit extra for the next couple months or so. Who knows how it's going to be? Who knows? I mean, I might have a bad week and I just want to use my pantry items, or the weather may turn horrible and I don't want to go out. Whatever the reason is, I like knowing that that is there. I just like knowing that that is there. And what if the power goes out for a few days? No one ever knows. Next, it really doesn't matter. I disagree with that. I say it really does matter to have a stockpile. Some people think, oh, I live in the city. It doesn't matter. We have stuff all over the place. And what happens if there's a situation which prevents cars or trucks from getting into your busy city? Can't get into the city, the goods are not delivered, you're going to lose out. So that's not true. Having a false sense of confidence can be a big mistake. Feeling guilty or sad. Some people feel guilty and sad for stockpiling. I don't know why. My theory is that perhaps people are thinking or confusing ordinary, common garden variety stockpiling as hoarding. There is an incredible difference, and there are tons to explain the difference. Even I have explained the difference a few times on past videos. Another one: I have no time to stockpile. Really? How much time do you think it takes to just prepare a space, pick up a couple of cans every so often, like maybe a few times a month, put it on the shelf, group your stuff? I think this is a very helpful idea. If you're grouping your items, this cuts down on a lot of the confusion. So when you do begin your stockpiling, begin it properly by grouping. It makes your life easier. You will have saved yourself a lot of future time. You're just going to avoid a lot of chaos when you're trying to find the things that you need. So start it correctly at the beginning. As far as feeling guilty, you should not feel guilty. I would feel more guilty for not looking out for my family, for example. That would make me feel more guilty. Think about that for a second. Why should you feel guilty for looking out for yourself or your family? And even if you are a family of one, if you don't look out for you, who is going to look out for you specifically? Honestly, you need to look out for yourself. Just saying, for real and for true. And yes, of course, I believe in God, but God wants us to do our part as well. We can't rely everything on God. God expects us to do our part. That is my personal belief. So you have no time. Some people say this, and I respect them for saying this. Honestly, I don't know where to begin. That is a legitimate. That is not an excuse at all. That's just a little bit of a fear. But the great news is all of that information is so readily available. I constantly say that I'm in the first grade starting off with stockpiling. I even made a recent video, which some of you might have seen recently, about one of the mistakes that I've made. You were going to make mistakes along the way. You want to know what the mistake was? About a year and a half back, 2 years ago, I bought 8 boxes of spaghetti. That's the way it was sold. 8 boxes were put in one box, not realizing how long of a time does it take to use spaghetti, and it all depends on the person. For example, I make one spaghetti box for me is 4 different times to make spaghetti, and that's just one box. So out of that 8 box package in the 2 years time, guess what? I only utilized 2 boxes. After all, how much spaghetti can one person eat? Just saying, and especially the person that's dividing it up into 4 ways. I just can't eat that much spaghetti. I like it. It was a great product, but I'm not going to eat up the rest of those boxes. So checking on those boxes, using one, making sure that it's okay. I'm going to give this away to people who can really use it, and they'll use it up because they have larger families, and that makes me happy to help them. I would hate to see something like that go to waste. But the bottom line point that I'm making is all of us are going to make a mistake or two along the way. How else can we learn if we don't have trial and error? I think trial and error is a good thing. That way we learn and we know better. So try to avoid your fears. Try to just begin. But I don't have any money. This is a very common excuse. You don't need a lot of money to start a stockpile at all whatsoever. I can't tell you in the last few years how many absolutely wonderful videos that I have seen encouraging people to stockpile with very little money. The basic rule of thumb in the beginning, start off by spending $5 or allotting $5 per grocery haul. Every single time I get a grocery haul, I will first thing I'll do is check my existing extended pantry to make sure of the things that are needed, to see if there are holes that need plugged up rather. So what I do is I indicate that information on my future grocery list, and I just add it. I don't have to spend a ton of money. I could spend $5 to $10 on my extended pantry every single grocery haul. I don't have to worry about putting out $100 or $200 like that just for that. No, I rather do it gradually, and I rather keep my eye out on my extended pantry. That way I really know what's going on and keeping better track of my inventory. So with all these excuses, let's think about them. Most of them are just silly excuses, right? I believe they are. In the meantime, this has been Jan from New York City. Thank you very much for viewing. Why? Because I really do appreciate who? You. Don't forget to come back in the future for some more savings, tips, and tricks. Looking for my outro. Where are you, outro? Be right back. Have an amazing, fantastic day. Take good care now. Bye-bye.